What's up? I'm NyVo. Today we have the Hifiman Edition XS. It's a $500 headphone, and it's probably the best bang for the buck headphone you can get right now. So for pretty much everyone, I'd say this is the headphone to get, unless you're really trying to get pretty far in this hobby. For most people, you can just get this and then just be done with the hobby. So 500 bucks and you're out. So it does run off of an Apple dongle, but so the second part of the video, you're going to see me put it on a whole bunch of different amps and compare and give you my notes of what I thought and how much better it is on one amp versus another. For now, I'll just talk about the sound quality of it. So the bass extends low and it rolls evenly into the mids, and then mids roll evenly into the treble for the most part. There is a slight bump on the treble, which is similar to the Sesparo over here. So Sesparo is a really good headphone, and this kind of has the same thing going on. It's kind of like riding the edge of good and bad, but it's on the good side. So that's exactly where I like it. So no real issues at all with the response, in my opinion. I'll say, so yeah, I said the bass extends low, and it is, it can be punchy on a good amp. On Apple dongle, it's not punchy, but it's represented, so you know it's there. It's just not putting a lot of pressure on the bass. If you amp it, then you will get some pressure and just more bass. So this was the previous best bang for the buck headphone. This is the Ananda, and I used to recommend it all the time to almost anyone in the audiophile channels that was just starting out. And trying to get into something better. Usually this is the next step from something cheaper. And I would say the XS actually beats the Ananda, and this is $200 cheaper. There is something that Ananda can do that this one can't, and that's the stage. The stage goes out further in front, which, as I'll explain in a bit, that doesn't really matter a whole lot. But so the Ananda bass is actually worse than the XS. The bass is more boomy and more distorted, and the treble rolls off more on the Ananda as well. But both of them are, they don't really require heavy amps to sound good, and or even DACs to sound that good either. It doesn't really make a huge difference for these two headphones. But you'll see that in the second part of the video. So the stage on the XS, I was saying it, so if this is your head with your ears over here, the sounds actually kind of go in straight lines through your head like this. So a lot of headphones, the issue is they come in and then they kind of warp, and then, you know, kind of, there's some warping going on. So I have this, like, this is kind of an example, hopefully this works, where you can kind of see that it's, you know, not a straight line. That's kind of what's happening with a lot of headphones, where it goes through your head and it curves around and stuff, and then it just makes it hard for your brain to figure out where the sounds are coming from. And I'd say since the XS is in straight lines, it helps your brain figure out where everything's supposed to be, and it there's no issue. And even though the stage is on the smaller side for XS, I'd say even that is not an issue, because since it's going straight through in that line through your head, you're actually able to interpret that. Your brain's able to figure out where the sound should be. And so actually for gaming, this is another good headphone. I don't feel like I'm missing anything, and I can always kind of tell where everything's supposed to be, and it's never really a big problem. So actually, you have to spend a lot of money to get something that's actually better than this for headphones, and so this is a really good spot to be. So what else could I say about it? If I compare it to like the 6XX, I mean, this is just blowing it away. I mean, 6XX has some issues. The DT880 is a decent headphone, but the XS is better. It has better bass, less fatiguing treble. So, you know, kind of pretty much everything that I have here, like the PC38X, that's just not detailed enough, and the XS actually has a decent amount of detail. I'd say it's more detailed than the Ananda, which has already better detail than a lot of headphones up here. The HE1000V1 is the headphone that actually beats these guys here. So there's quite a bit more detail, and it's definitely a step up from these. So if you can find one though, you can only get them used, and they're getting older, so you can't get replacement pads for them. So the pads have to be in good condition, etc., etc. So not a whole lot of options really. I'd say the XS is good. So the Aria is, you know, I think people think, oh, it's more money, it's got to be better. Well, XS is, it's hanging in there. Especially when the Aria is on a cheaper amp, there's not really much difference between the XS and the Aria. If you saw my shootout with amps on the Aria and HD800, you'd see that the Aria, it really only sounded really good on that $4,000 amp, where the stage really opened up. And the XS, I could not get to that to happen, and you'll see that in the second part of this video. What else to talk about? I think that's about it. I'll just go ahead and get into the amp side of it and show you my raw reactions to what I thought about the XS and all these different DACs and amps. So here it goes. All right, so I got the Apple dongle plugged in, and I'll try this out. Let's see. All right, so with the Apple dongle, I'm already impressed. It has a lot of elements you need. It actually has some bass. Normally with weaker stuff, bass will fall off, but it's actually still represented. It's just not really punchy. So already, I mean, this is an easy recommend for the XS. If you can already sound good on a Apple dongle, then it's going to be easy recommend for me. That's one of the reasons why Ananda was so, like why I shielded so much, I guess, is because it was easy to drive, and so is the XS. So that's really good. I'd still consider this a budget setup at $500, but a really good budget setup. So it's not a high-end can still, but considering how good of a sound for $500, this is pretty good. So I'll try a few more things. I didn't think I'd already like it with the Apple dongle, but I do. I want to see how much better the bass can get and the stage and everything. So let's try it out. Let's move on. I think I'll skip the Meizus and save this for another review. Let's do, yeah, I'll do the Quidlix 5K because this one has a better single-ended. Let's try that since I already have the single-ended out. Alright, on the Quidlix 5K, I'm noticing that there's definitely more bass punch to it, and it's hitting harder, but it also is distorting more, so I don't think that's really a win. To me, that's not acceptable if it's distorting, so and the single-ended on that is better than the ES100 MK2, so I'm just going to skip this one too. I don't think it's good enough. But yeah, Apple dongle was weaker, but at least it was cleaner. Let's try. I guess I'll try the Magnis next. Alright, so if you could see here, I'm actually just doing the Magni into the Apple dongle. So we'll just see how much of a difference the Magni makes versus no amplification. Alright. All right, so with the Apple dongle on the Magni for the XS, already a huge improvement over the Apple dongle and the Quidlix 5K. So adding the Magni as an app using an RCA to 3.5 adapter, huge improvement. So this is already something I can easily recommend. So either if you're just starting with just an Apple dongle is fine, but just know that the Magni will really help it out quite a bit and helps the tone and helps the bass punch. But I'm curious to see what will actually make this, do some more technical things. So I'm going to keep trying more amps here and see what happens. Trying the Valhalla 2 now. Let's check this out, and it's still on the Apple dongle. All right. All right. So once again, the Valhalla 2 once again is not working with the planar magnetics. Seems to pair better with the Beyerdynamic headphones than any of the Hifimans. So this is a fail again, the Valhalla 2. I'll move on to the Jotunheim. All right, I'm currently plugged into the Jotunheim, so I want to check it out. All right, so on the Jotunheim 2, it's definitely better than the Valhalla 2. So the Magni's also better than Valhalla 2 for this headphone, the XS. The Jotunheim 2 is not really a very big step up, not as much as I was guessing it'd be from the Magni. So even though this has way more power, it is better. It's cleaner sounding. It's a lot more authority. A little bit more power. And I don't know if I would recommend going up to this. It's kind of hard to say. I think someone that has this already and then they upgrade to this, they might be disappointed because it's not a huge upgrade. It's kind of small actually. I don't think I need to go to this one because this is actually more powerful. So I'll skip to I'll do the iHa 6 next. Okay, I'm hearing on the iHa 6, it's actually a step up from the other amps so far. I guess, a big question is like, why should I spend more on an amp than a headphone? Well, sometimes because it makes the headphone do better things. So this one is actually much more technical than the Jotunheim and the Magni. Separating sounds better and just a cleaner tonality, and it just sounds better. So far, I think I would recommend the iHa 6 with the XS. So far, my recommendations would be Apple dongle, Magni, and the iHa 6, and maybe Jotunheim, but I'd say maybe not also. So let me try. I don't think going. Oh well, I will try the 430HA as well, but let me try another DAC besides the Apple dongle to see if I change my mind about any of the apps. So let's try that next. All right, so I just switched DACs to the Army ADI 2 DAC FS right here, and I'm going to use the actual headphone out from this first, and let's just test that out. All right, here we go. Okay, so So this has a better DAC but a weaker amp than the iHouse 6, but I would say they're on the same level. Apple dongle with iHouse 6 versus the RME and ADI2 DAC. But this, you know, you can upgrade the amp on this and then have a, you know, it gets much better. So this also sounds really good. Yeah, so far nothing has been like really high end yet, but I'd say just, you know, I think most people will be happy with this type of sound. It's not really the high end audiophile stuff, but if you're just expecting a good headphone, this is a good headphone. All right, let's try this with the iHouse 6 and see what happens. All right, so it is better. It's just not a lot better. It's again, it gets a little bit cleaner once the iHouse 6 is on the RME, but it's not a huge difference. I would say it's good though. Like, but I think the 430HA is better because I have heard the XS on that before. So let's try that. That was on the Hollow May, so I haven't tried it on the RME yet. Let's see what happens. All right, now we're on the RME as a DAC and the Moon 430HA as an amp. Let's try it out. All right, so RME on the 430HA, I'd say it still sounds mid. It's not really a big improvement over the iHouse 6, which normally every time I've tried the 430HA, it is a big improvement. I don't know if that's the RME holding it back or the headphones. I think it's the headphones, but let me try the Hollow May to be sure. Let's see if that's holding if the DAC's holding it back. So let's try that. All right, so I'd say the Hollow May with the 430HA, I think that combination is overkill for the headphones. We are hitting like the edge of what the headphones can do. Not that it doesn't improve it, it does improve it, but it's definitely not worth the extra price. I think it makes more sense to upgrade the headphone at that point if you're at this level of DAC and apps. But yeah, it does improve it and it does sound nice. Now, I would say, so the overall winners as far as the chains go so far that we tried, just the Apple dongle by itself was decent enough. Like if you just need something, that'll work, and it actually has a little bit of bass. The bass is represented, it's just there's no thump to it. And then when you add the Magni, that's the next step. So Apple dongle plus Magni, it helps the bass more, so you get a better tonality, but you don't get any, like, I don't know how to describe it for beginners. It's not doing anything special. It's just fixing the tone and making it sound like a more bass and everything. Then the next step up, so the Odenheim 2 was better, but not that much better. The iHouse 6 was quite a bit better, and that was with the Apple dongle. It was already pretty good with just an Apple dongle. And it was at the same level as the RME ADI2 DAC FS by itself, which is pretty good because this has a better DAC and that has a better amp. When I combined the two together, it did help also, so the RME plus the iHa6, but I don't know if I recommend that combination for the XS. It's already getting to the limit of the headphone, and then anything beyond that wasn't really doing much. So yeah, so I guess the real out of what I tested today, Apple dongle, Magni, iHa6, or this. Not and or, just RME or the iHa6, one or the other. After that, you're just spending a lot of extra cash. But if you have multiple headphones, then you can look into higher in amps and DACs. I think I'll do the review now. So I don't know which order I'm going to put this in yet. So I'll go ahead and review the headphone now.